This conference will now be recorded.
How many minutes is there? Never mind. My mistake. I've got too much paper. Anybody have any comments about the minutes? I know there was one or two minor things I had changed with William.
It's minor, but they don't list.
They just ignored, yeah, they just listed who was not there. Yeah, in the future, we should have who is absent being stated there. For this week or this month, it is JT Thomas. But I'm not going to make a big deal about that at this point in time.
There's a lot better. There's a lot of information.
So is there anything we think we have to change? Or are you okay? Is it you okay with this?
Oh, yeah, I read it before.
Okay, I'll make sure.
I think she had to be present before.
Yeah.
I think I do recall that.
This took me off.
Well, I don't think George is doing the minutes, is she, Chris? I think they're still being done at the office, yeah.
Yeah, she's on,
So, whatever. that
she's
is.
on the office thing.
Yeah. All right, so I'll take a motion.
I move to accept the minutes.
All right, Regina has made a motion to accept the minutes. Do I have a second? Angela has seconded. All in favor? All right, the minutes pass. Okay. Actually, we do have reports here. Signed it there. Double check that. Minutes are approved. Well, did you, Chris, did you come up with anything, have an opportunity to look at with the legal at all, or is that something we'll do for our next one?
I'd have to look into the bills. Yeah, I don't have them right handy, but I want to make sure I get the information from Tony. His billing, and then compare it with the budget debits.
Hey, just for the record, there were some questions about a couple of the expenditures here. One of them had to do with some legal bills, and I wanted to get an explanation. But we do have a final report. I had them distributed. You probably have some of it in front of you, don't you? Yeah, and that's for the end of the fiscal year, September 30th. One of my concerns was on the balance sheet I asked you to look at, so that you understood.
So you pull it right now.
So were all the attorney fees verified or still?
Well, I just asked Chris today if he could get some kind of a statement from what we were billed for. Because there's several that I'm not sure of. And I wanted to make sure that the one for the request to ask the Attorney General whether it gives turn the roads over to us. You weren't paying for that because that was the inquiry that came from the board of supervisors, and we shouldn't be paying it, not out of the old work budget. In any case, I do know there were a couple inquiries that were sent from our board, some that had to do with issues over our, contract with our new security company and the post orders. So there may be some legal bills, and that might be some of what I saw. I never actually saw the bills, so I was curious. But this is interesting, if only because you get a feel for where the money's going. Because I'm sure you've got your tax bill already. And you see that it's $1,333 or something like that per door for us in Stoneybrook. That's the highest in the community. And part of that is because we have the local core budget that's financed. And unlike another community, we pay the full amount, even though we paid a little over. Also, you probably already know, but just that Kathy Flaherty did lose the election. And her replacement will be Robert. I think it's Bob.
Yeah, Bob, yeah.
Yeah.
Lost like 200 votes,
Real close, so like 200, yeah.
all from Pelican.
And they got a big number of them. It makes them, well, now that I have two people on the board.
There's 3 precincts and she won 2 and lost 1. That was the one that had the most people in it.
The old one probably.
Yeah, Pelican, it was Pelican.
Any questions about this? I don't know if you had a chance to look at it, but if you have any questions, post them. And hang on to it, keep it in the file, because for reference, this is where the money is going. It's going. And it's not just our money, it's also all the money, you know.
So next month we'll get the list one, I think we'll do on each side.
They just send them out monthly. I don't know if I forwarded every monthly or just quarterly, but I can. It's not as quite as expensive. The information that is in the main financial report here is more than you really probably need to know, but because it's the end of the year. So you have that information system. In any case, let me just go back to that.
And all the AT&T stuff is fixed, right? And they didn't want now.
We're not getting billed for that, but I don't know what the status is as far as going after. That's something we'll discuss with Chris to see what the status is.
So this AT&T mobility, what is that?
It's not, that's not us. What you're looking at here, you gotta look at the numbers here.
Oh,
We're G4.
before.
So,
So the crossover.
Exactly.
Okay. Not
That sound looks like a mobile phone. Okay. The AT&T mobile phone. And the one that I was talking about is 1,290. Look on the last page of this medium size. Page looks like this. Yeah, you look down across the top, you see the GF004. That's the Gateway Fund, the 004 fund. And you'll see a couple of bills there for 12, one for 1,290. And that was legal service. And I'm not sure what that was. And there's others.
So have we requested to get a breakdown on that specific thing, since we haven't seen the bills? How do we get a breakdown?
Well, I just asked Chris, and he'll contact them.
Okay.
Let's see what the bills are. But focus on that one community development district where it's a summary of operating and maintenance invoices. Focus on the column, vertical column, the GFO. That's actually our money.
Sorry, what page?
All,
Oh, yes.
no, all. Focus on that. That is what we spent in the last month, and therefore you're getting a running total. And I think that Chris might be right, because this was in September. It could have been, the bill may have been over issues with the security costs contract.
But this is August of 2020.
I see a $1,200 bill here from Mainscape for repair main line break under sidewalk. I assume that must be irrigation. That's on page 5.
There's some major work, like at the end of Gemstone work. What day that was, the date is this.
September, this would be for September. Now, it may have been paid out September, it might have been done.
This is the station that's there. I thought there was some type of problem, somebody did something and it's gonna have to be replaced. I don't know if that's September.
When you said somebody did something at the station, you're talking about the pump station, lift station?
No, oh,
We had that, we were doing some work being done.
Well, there was sidewalk issues there. Is that what you think?
Okay, I thought that there was some line cut road and something was being. I was just guessing, I'm not sure.
Okay.
I just saw activity in construction, the construction workers doing. So if you get these every month, that would be great instead of waiting every quarter. We get them,
If I get them, I'll have them distributed to you, okay? And Sonia is the one who sends them out.
so are they required to give them to us or we have to request?
Well, as a committee, and being chair of the committee, I requested a long time ago to get this information, especially for the 04 budget. And that used to be like on tape if you went back here. You always see it. Harry used to keep, he didn't like everybody looking. But I've been getting it for a couple of years or more now, probably.
What's the only way to stay on top of it is if we can see it every month.
Well, if I get it, you'll get it.
Okay. we're doing it first.
Anybody have any questions there? Want to discuss? Now, the final budget is basically a done deal, so there's not much to really talk about. That's enough for you to see it, so you have some to discuss. So I'm going to move on from number 3 and move down to number 4, if you're okay with that. Discussion of proposals to repair Stoneybrook running path and roads. And Warren, I've been working on this, and Warren has picked up the ball for us. So, Warren, you have anything you want to update on?
We finally had Anchorage Tree out. We use, again, just so everyone understands, we use Anchorage Tree because they are contracted by Gateway Services. And this project is going through Gateway Services. So using them, we get the rates or whatever. And so I got the proposal this morning, and I'll pass copies out. You probably saw some of the comments on
Facebook.
When we met with them, one of the big things, we talked about was, if we took all of the trees out that were causing problems on this pathway, there'd be 25 to 30 trees that would have to come out. That's why we went with an arborist, and they have an arborist. They come out, they evaluated, and they decided, or they're recommending taking out 9 trees along Pebblebrook, along the path. And those are all listed there individually, is how much it cost to take them out, because they're all different sizes, et cetera, and that's what they would cost to take them out, and they would grind them and everything down.
Can I add one thing, just real quick? I won't interrupt you, but one of the reasons we're taking these trees down is because they told us, and I'm sure Warren agrees, that just cutting back roots and doing the other things to these trees would jeopardize these trees anyway. They probably would either not survive or get blown over in a storm, so rather than try to mitigate the service, we're just gonna take those trees down. And we can explore at a later date whether we want.
So what we're doing is a combination of taking down the 9 trees, and that's not in stone. There's a couple of trees that we may want to take a look at and not take down. And I've got pictures of all the trees. You can take a look at them. Those are fresh off the press from this morning. And the other part of the program is that they're going to put in, as you can see, the big cost, 285 feet of barrier along the sidewalk, which will, it's not all in one strip, in different areas throughout the sidewalk, a total of 285 feet. And this will keep a lot of the trees there because the barrier will throw the roots underneath and will last for now. It won't be a permanent effect. And like they said, this will be a permanent problem we have with the roots going in there. You know, we're hoping to extend our life expectancy. We had 5 years on the last time. We're hoping maybe go 10 years on this once we get this all done. So this is kind of phase 1. We get the trees done, the barriers in, then the next phase is to get the asphalt people out to dig up those areas that are already bad, patch those over, etc. And once we get this resolved as to who's paying and get it approved, then we'll start on the asphalt, because they're going to be anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks before we can get on the schedule to have this done. And those of you that have walked down that path, is a maintenance plan that when some of it starts to come up, not to wait for 3 years to do a whole bunch, get that one done. It'll be cheaper, it'll get it done, and the liability. Because, you know, we have people out there running at night, especially now at night. There's people running up and down there. And if they're not really paying attention, it's easy for a runner to trip over some of those things. And I think, a couple of people told me that they didn't fall, but they stumbled because they weren't paying attention and hit some of those things because they are pretty high. So we need to get it fixed.
So it's a Stoneybrook house.
So,
We're changing the name.
so my feeling is, you know, I don't know, I would like to say, you know, get Gateway and say, okay, it's $10,150. We need the $10,150.
We'll
to
do
do
this,
this program.
we'll get it on their agenda.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm gonna request.
Yeah, see, they're meeting tomorrow night. So the next meeting will be in 2 weeks, and it'll be a new board. So, and that might be a good time. And looking at the budget stuff, I got it somewhere. But on the end of the thing, there was some excess money available. Now, it's not as much, I think it's 184,000, but I'm sure there's still some stuff that has to come out of that, but to get 10,000.
Actually, if you read the balance sheet closely, it actually is already taken out of that number.
Is it?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So,
Outstanding, funds.
so we need to get this, you know, get this moving along with this aspect of it. And I'd say our plan, once we get this approved, then we can get after the asphalt. I don't want to get too soon because they have proposals before from January and February. And that was too long ago.
And those proposals, to be honest with you, were really a hodgepodge.
Yeah.
All doing different types of repairs and projects. And we were looking for suggestions that time because we weren't sure what we wanted to do.
Yeah.
Now we're pretty confident.
Yeah. And that's what, I kind of sat down and went through all those things and laid out the consistencies between all four as far as depth of the asphalt, stone and all that, and got that on a list. So everybody will do the same thing.
If we take out all of the streets, what's gonna look like along there?
Well, right now, we'll deal with that down the road. Job one is to really eliminate the liability problem.
The 9 trees, really, if you look, you really won't see that many of them gone. There's only 2 that I'm concerned about, and those are ones that are between the macadam and the roadway. There's a little bit of damage right there, and I don't know why. And again, we can always put something else back in there. And those, weeks because of their
I
scheduling,
haven't touched it.
we may have some change. They take them out because the roots are on top of the ground, and those are the ones that will be going out. The interesting thing was, when I never realized how far, but oak trees, root base,
Really go out.
will go out 45 feet.
Wow.
The county says you can put oak trees in 100 feet apart. So you put 45 on each side, you got 10 feet between the roots. So, but, and those of you that know, oak trees, they are the most damaging thing around. They look nice, but then again, it's a problem. So I'm not sure where we go from here. As I say, I'd like to get moving on it. If got to take it to the board, we'll take it to the board.
In fact, one of the things that we'll run this way at our next board meeting, and I don't think they'll have a problem with it, Chris, is how do we, Warren's got a little proposal there from Arbor. Can we get that on the agenda? I know not for tomorrow, but for the supervisors for 2 weeks from now to approve the use of funds in the in our capital account where we have some.
And that,
Or is that something you can handle yourself?
yeah, it's 10,150. I can do 10,000 easy. So yeah, I can just issue a purchase order for this if you guys want to approve it.
Let's do it.
for it.
Can I ask a couple of questions?
Yeah.
This estimate we have in front of us, this is from, by arborists, you guys work with, right?
Yeah.
Need that, trims our trees, trims the trees for,
No, I'm talking
and
about
when they
But they-
arborists.
Yeah, they have an
This
arborist.
is what I-
Yes, yes,
I was gonna say, they have an arborist.
Yes.
I
yes,
just want to make sure that arborist is the one that
yes.
gave
Yes.
this. info.
That was Carter. The guy was at our meeting. Yeah, he's arborist, yes. Yes.
It just says anchor trees.
Yeah.
all over it.
And
It
the-
didn't say like five, so-
The one question I had after I got that today was, why is there a difference in cost? And they said it comes down to size of the tree,
Mhm.
where it's located, how much they're gonna have to finagle around to get some of the stuff done. And then shipping it all out is gonna be a big thing, because if we wanna plant something else there, then it's ready to go that way. So,
That
like I
would be a
say,
goal, is to
yeah.
put trees there.
yeah, we could put a different kind of tree in that would not perhaps have the same root system that
And we also have to take in consideration where it is located relative to where the lights are. Because
Yeah.
remember, those lights were. put
I
in
didn't
trees
see,
and
I didn't see any real location on that. I don't, and again, I wasn't looking for lights, but nothing jumped out at me on lights.
I have
So,
another question.
I double check.
but that is something that I think we can do with arbor when they trim
Mhm.
regularly, instead of, taking out, but because they come around.
Well, if you heard Arbor at that meeting, he said, yeah, we get requested trim away from the lights all the time. He doesn't know that's coming from me. I talk
and
to him all the time about that.
And I think we heard, it was a good meeting we had with Arbor and their folks. We actually, the president of the company,
Anchor.
Anchor, I'm sorry.
You know, type of she's gonna deal on that stuff with.
Yeah, it's anchor tree.
Yeah.
Do not put down arbor tree in the minutes.
Yeah. Arbor seed.
Do they have the capability to look for the utilities? Do they have-
I'm sorry.
To look for the utilities that might be in the way. do they?
Yeah, that's in the contract. That would be something we'll have to take a look at. I don't really suspect there'll be a problem, except maybe
Do
some
they do that
irrigation
when
stuff.
someone else come in?
Well, we'll have to put a request in to Gateway, and they'll have someone go out and mark
Well,
their stuff.
there's that one call before you dig.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to call 811.
Yeah,
They notify all the
Yeah.
utilities.
they know how to do all that stuff.
Okay.
So, yeah,
All right.
because he put that in
I
here.
actually think they do.
Yeah.
I mean, they have the capability.
Yeah, they probably do, but they may also just come with the quality.
Yeah.
I'll be surprised if they didn't. anyway.
Well, if Chris gives a check or gives a work order on that, you're gonna get in touch with them to start ASAP?
I'm gonna get in touch with them, tell them to put on a schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the key thing of moving it along, because we can, I talked to them, they told us 6 weeks, 3 weeks ago, once we had it approved. They won't put nothing on schedule until it's approved.
Mhm.
So once we get it approved, and if I call him tomorrow morning and say, hey, it's approved, get us on the schedule, he's thinking between 2 and 6 weeks.
So what I
They'll be
want
out
to
there.
do is I'd like someone to make a motion to approve this proposal.
I have
Well, okay, well, we have the discussion opportunity after we make the motion. With pending the approval of our HOA board, which I think should be an automatic, once they know they're not paying for it.
Oh, yeah, I don't think they'll have, if
So
they
do
do, we can,
you want to make a motion for that
we move forward with this proposal.
from arbitrary? And that was one,
Anchor.
anchor tree.
anchor tree.
I'm sorry.
Sorry about that.
Well, arbors, that's what. the thing
Oh,
is.
yeah.
No,
And I need a second for that,
Second.
and Virginia seconded that motion. So we'll have some discussion. What else did you have?
The 9 trees that are specifically on this list,
Mhm.
right now have red strings around them.
Right.
Are there any other trees that have yellow ribbon or anything else? on
No,
them?
only thing that we're taking down that's why I got pictures of them with the red stuff on it.
Right.
And those are the only ones that are gonna come down. As I say, there's a couple that we may want to take a look at and say, no, we don't want you to take them down because of where they're at or whatever.
Right now, only those 9 have those, because I'm
Right.
about to buy them.
Yeah, but nothing else.
Okay,
Nothing.
on the ground, those green stripes, that's.
Yes, that's me.
Okay, perfect, you did a good job. So here's my question, those are there, so everybody knows that that's where the work's gonna be done.
Yeah, that'd be some of the work, yes.
Ribbons, so here's another, that you did such a good job on the paint on there. I know this is gonna take weeks to get done, is there any way we can get someone to go out there and temporarily mark, like, here's the area you don't want to trip over for safety. This has gone on for, I don't know, talking about 3 months.
We have been, I want to say,
Mark
negligent
dangerous
in
ones.
doing that. We really have. And whether it be Gateway or it be the HOA gets all the complaints. Someone should have been out there. And I know on when they come up 2 weeks ago with the concrete over by the lift station, someone from Gateway come out and sprayed it with fluorescent paint. And that's what we need to do on this. Now, the green don't hit all the spots. It just hit where some different things. But that could be something that we can get done. I don't see a big.
Maybe we can get our buddy who works, our part-timer down at the clubhouse to do something.
Well, can get him. It's not one of those big deals. A walk along the path with a couple cans of that spray and
Right, but it's
you can do it.
something we could have done 3 months ago, just.
Yeah, it should have been done it should be done whenever there's a damage thing.
What are the days right now?
Yeah.
But can we like put it on the
Yeah.
list and get it done? Or we have to-
It's $6 a can. And we give it to Tom. I don't know if you're walking.
I don't walk that path anymore.
Okay, he don't walk the path anymore. We get someone that's walking the path and have them spray. But we can get that done. Yeah, that's not a problem.
Do that now, she's not supervisor.
But that green that you used or anything fluorescent, I think we need to do that on ASAP.
Well, we can get that done. I don't have, I'm not sure, we'll find somebody to do it. I don't know if the guy from, that works part-time up at the clubhouse.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to talk to Shannon tomorrow and I'll work with her to get something done.
Okay.
She's got them.
Yeah.
The whole thing, all the pictures of every little.
Yeah, because, there's really not a whole bunch of patchwork until you get down to, gemstone. And almost that whole section of gemstone has to be replaced because it is just off, because there's so many trees and stuff right in through there.
And the proximity is closer too.
Yeah,
That was all my-
Which is one of the considerations, and I don't want to address it this time. We'll
Yeah.
work on replacing it. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
John wants me to get this done.
Yeah, we
And
get
move
this-
forward with the redoing the walkway. And if Chris can get that, our purchase order number, if you can't do it for the 150, it's got to be 10,000 fixed now.
No, I'll do it.
Okay.
150 over. isn't it?
I'm sure Tommy will take 10.
Probably will.
As much as they've got me around for 2 weeks.
I hear you.
I think we were doing
Yes, you did.
that.
So in any case, any other discussion on? All in favor of approval of this proposal? Aye, it's unanimous. Proposal is.
Thank you.
approved.
Thank you.
And we will go forward with that and submit it. And we don't even have, well, it'll be on the minutes, it'll be in the minutes for the supervisor.
Yeah.
And we'll go forward. And the only other thing, we will mention it at the HOA master board meeting. Well done, Mark. Appreciate it. Okay. Traffic law enforcement, this is another one I think that Warren has asked to be on this agenda. So go ahead.
I started probably 8 months ago researching having law enforcement, basically sheriff's office working in Stoneybrook. Looking around and could not find a bunch of information, started sending public records requests or gathering information. I stopped because the board of supervisors went to the AG, going to give us all the property back. Well, a couple weeks ago, they found out they can't do that because we're a not-for-profit organization. They can't do that. So I picked it back up.
Can I just, just for the record, I want to state that we're a not-for-profit corporation.
Yeah.
And they are quite different. 617 does a very explicit job of
And
distinguishing.
in the comments on the AG, it kind of addresses kind of both issues a little bit. That makes it a little thin. But at this point, all we can say is we're probably never going to get the roadway. So we need to get law enforcement in there. In 2006, the roadways were owned by Stoneybrook at Gateway, HOA. Basically because it was Lennar. Lennar owned the roads and Lennar controlled the HOA. And this is a copy of what they got. They filed a request, they have to go through the county commissioners. The county commissioners send a letter to the sheriff saying you can do this. And this explains the whole thing. What can happen. In 2009, at turnover, all the roadways were turned over to Gateway Services. And now Gateway Services owns the roadways. 3 key words come out both in this and in some other comments where it says that the owner, whoever does the ownership, maintenance, and control of the roadway has to be expressed in a letter going to the county commissioners to go that way. So the owner is the person who needs to give up the jurisdiction, and what they're doing is saying, come in to our community and enforce Lee County traffic laws on our roadways. Right now, this is the only thing we have going for us is this comment here, but it's the HOA, and the HOA don't own the roadway anymore. It belongs to Gateway. Gateway should do this. And we all know all the documents that are out there saying that Gateway owns the roadways. All kinds of emails and stuff since 2010. And I've got them all where they do this. In the request, the latest one be the request for the AG's opinion. The attorney expressed all the information necessary. The interesting thing that come up through a public records request was a email that went out from the Lee County Sheriff's Attorney to several people within their agencies concerning traffic control agreements. And she says, in part, whereas the roads described in Exhibit A, and this is just not us, this is everybody, this is how they do it.
This was started by a member of the Board of Supervisors.
Well,
Oh, the new board?
No, the old board.
But in the Exhibit A in this agreement is a listing of all the roads. And there's 16 other HOAs listed here that have this problem. It says, whereas the roads described in Exhibit A have been dedicated to the respective signing party and are currently operated and controlled by the respective signing party. This agreement is out of date. It is signed by Stoneybrook HOA, but Stoneybrook HOA is not a current owner and they don't control it or operate the roadways. And so what they're saying here, what she's saying, and I talked this over with her, is that as long as they have something in their file that says this, until it's changed, they're going to operate under these things. My feeling is that if we're going to do it, we need to do it right. And to do it right, Gateway needs to file with the Lee County Commissioners asking for the sheriff to patrol the highway, the roadways within Stoneybrook.
Basically, you're asking for an interlocal agreement between Gateway and the county sheriff's office.
Well, no, well, this is what they have. This here, this is what they would send a letter to the county commissioners. I talked with the attorney in charge of the commissioners. Never ever received anything from Gateway. This they got. But what they do is Tony, our HOA or the Gateway attorney, would send a letter to the county commissioner saying, we want to do this. We own, we maintain, and we control. We want the sheriff to come in and patrol these highways, the roadways in Stoneybrook. They would meet, and they met on Tuesday, December 5th, as part of the Board of County Commissioners, and voted, yes, sheriff, you can do this. The sheriff then could do that. But now that HOA, Stoneybrook, does not own the roadways, to me, this is null and void because it does not affect. The question comes down, Gateway CDD. There's a Attorney General's opinion that says special Yeah, I got a new parcel, I'm still working with it. Special districts like the one CDD can hire the sheriff in the county or the police department, depending where the jurisdiction is, to handle traffic under their laws on the private roadways. And then that comes under section 316 of the Florida Code under traffic jurisdiction. So to me, it would help us being HOA, because if the sheriff is working for the CDD, when they hire the deputies to come in on the weekends to work, they would be allowed to go through Stoneybrook and enforce. I don't think they would do much of it because there's not much traffic. But in addition, Stoneybrook could also hire deputies on a part-time basis to work the roadways in Stoneybrook based on the fact that the CDD has turned over the jurisdiction to the sheriff's office. That's the same as the CDD does when they hire the sheriff to work on the county roads. They're reinforcing, they're adding to the implement or the number of people working the roadways. So we would be able to do the same thing. We'd also be able to hire them this way based on this authority from the county commissioner saying the sheriff can go in there and do that. So I think the next step, in my opinion, would be to go to the master board, or not the master board, but the board of supervisors and say, this is what we need to do. I would really like to sit down with Tony, the attorney, before we go into that, into a meeting, just to make sure. I don't want to do anything that's going to that cause a problem. And say it's document. This is only 1/10 of the paperwork I have that shows it. And something. Well, what's the big deal? If you're going to do it, you need to do it right. Well, and there's to me there is some problem in jurisdiction, liability aspects of it, especially if Stoneybrook starts hiring the deputies based on this.
Well, we've been hiring deputies for quite some time.
Right.
And I do want to say something that maybe I have a problem with the person who said there's no agreement between Gateway and the county. And I'll tell you why, and I'm sure, well, Chris may not have been here, but the rest of you probably know, is that Gateway didn't turn the road over to the county until just a few years ago. And Gateway, I remember asking this question about, do you have an interlocal with the county? And they said, yes, because for years, Gateway hired the county sheriffs to patrol Gateway Boulevard. They paid for it. They had $100,000 a year budget to pay for patrol on Gateway Boulevard. And how could they have done that and have not had a local agreement?
Yeah, and that's based on what the Lee County Attorney's Office that handles county commissioner stuff. And that had to be a while ago. 1986 is when Gateway started. So, who knows, like here, you can't find some stuff here because the filing systems are changing.
But up to 2012, 14, something like that, they were still paying them.
Yeah.
And,
Right now, the roadways, I don't know when Gateway and Griffin was turned over to the county.
Just a few years ago.
Couple of years ago.
Three? Oh, okay. Well, as I say, that's, to me, that's not a big issue. I think the issue is that we need to get enforcement into Stoneybrook.
I guess what I want to bring up though is that we need to ask Tony if in fact he has a record of the district having a interlocal for patrolling with the county. Because then when we got the document and the essentially transferred responsibility over to us, that we would manage the roads within Stoneybrook, I would think that since they then own the roads, that would have been part of the interlocal. And there is a document, as you said, states the roads by name.
Yeah. And I think
within Stoneybrook that are part of that.
Well, the I'm not sure, my mind just went, with the public records request that went to the Lee County Commissioners, asked for anything involving Stoneybrook and Gateway Services. Same thing went to the sheriff's office. In fact, I had to do it a couple of different times to the sheriff's office to get some of this information. I don't know how many public records requests I've submitted here over the years, trying to get that same information. And was it Diane? She tried to find it. And who was after Diane? Or before Diane? April.
No.
April was working on it. Laura and I got to be pen pals for a while because we're going back and because they can't find
April
it.
was confused the entire time I think she was here. I don't think she quite understood.
Yeah, well, but I think our deal should be to go. And again, now my purpose is not just to be a pain,
Just to get it
but-
right.
but we need to get it right because we need coverage. And we don't need 24/7. And the sheriff works 4-hour increments. To me, it should be Monday through Friday, 6 in the morning till 10, and 3 to 7 in the afternoon.
Well,
If we're gonna do it, because that's,
we couldn't afford to do that.
well, no, you can't do it all the time, but I'm saying those are the hours to work, because that's when the kids are going to school. That's when people are passing school buses. That's
And
when
the
they're
rest
not,
of the work are coming home.
and the workers come, and the kids are trying to cross at the crosswalk, and people aren't stopping at the crosswalks. And we need to protect the kids. And that's the best way we can do it. Because once the deputy pulls in through that gate and puts his red lights on, everybody in Stoneybrook knows what's going
I
on.
just want to remind you that when we first moved to that community, there were no crosswalks. We had nothing.
Yeah,
And all this has been put in by us over the
Yeah.
years with the help of Al.
oh, sure. Well, I think we've done a lot, and I think it's downtown now time for us to really kind of just put the sheriff out there patrolling around.
I agree with you, Warren. We should have, the Gateway should have a interlocal agreement with the county. But I think Chris, you might agree. Let's find out what Tony knows
Yeah.
about this, because I can't believe they didn't have one all those years. And we're getting the county sheriff.
And I'm not sure how far this law goes back, but it seems to go back quite a ways. And that's 316-006, and it breaks it down. The AG's opinion on special districts doing this stuff was from, I want to say 2009. That's when that was. So,
I don't know that.
yeah.
I just know
And, but
that.
that just, I wanted to make sure that the special districts were allowed to do that, even though the law kind of addresses that aspect of it. But the law is pretty specific, and the 3 key words in all this is ownership, maintenance, and control. And I think through the IOCs and emails and stuff we've gotten from the attorney and the board of supervisors, they own it, they maintain it, and they control it. So I
But
think
that's what
where-
one of those agreements was about, was passing some of that control over to us. But getting back to, and I guess, Chris, I'm gonna ask you if you could contact Tony and find out for us.
Sure.
If there is anything, if there's any record of an agreement interlocal with the county.
or if we can get with him before a meeting sometime. Just-
Control.
Does everybody understand what we're talking about?
Yeah, it's all part of the traffic. I mean, it's all part of traffic laws. Yeah. Okay, I've said enough. I can go home and have a beer.
Okay, so everybody understands that. We're gonna try to get some explanation from Tony to see
Yeah.
what he thinks. And if we don't have something, then maybe we need to do it. I gotta believe that Pelican Reserve must call the sheriff's office and Fort Myers Police, because they have.
City Fort Myers, that's who they use.
Yeah.
And there
Pelican
has to be
has
some
Fort
kind of understanding.
Pelican uses Fort Myers. They don't use the sheriff's office.
Well, not all of it's more Fort Myers.
No, but they use Fort Myers Police.
Even all the way down to what's.
I don't think he
out
is.
Out of the city.
My understanding in talking with a couple of people that they don't use the sheriff at all. They use Fort Myers Police.
So then, almost like the Fort Myers Police are privately going out of the city.
Well, it's the same, it comes under the same law.
I'm
Except
just
they
saying
have to
that it's
file-
not within the city limits though.
Yeah. But they have to file, I think it's section 2 of that section, where you can go, if you're in the city, you go to the city, and you have to go through the same thing. I think you probably have to be passed by council.
Now, unless I'm somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but the Gateway Services owns those roads that are in Fort Myers. So there must be an interlocal agreement with Fort Myers in the.
Yeah, I'm sure, yeah, I
So
would like to think
I'd be curious if there is, and if so, why would they do that, not to have one over here with that?
Well, I don't even know the fire service, there's county territory that there was an interlocal agreement. The city of Fort Myers took over responsibility for all the Pelican
Did they
Preserve.
really?
So
How do they recover the cost of that?
how do they recover the cost of
For
it?
going and maintaining coverage for fire service in an area that's not within the city.
That interlocal agreement provided that after 5 years that money would be
Coming out of the county?
coming out of the county, going to the city.
That's interesting.
all kinds of little things going on around.
Okay.
Well, that came up when they were talking about using that back road for emergency access because,
That's not.
they were gonna build a new fire station on Gateway Boulevard. Well, they still could have an interlocal agreement. They dispatch by GPS, whatever unit's closest. So, but it's city of Fort Myers territory.
So it was cheaper for the county to go that route, write it over to them, pay for the extra coverage than building a new fire station.
Correct.
Okay, makes sense. Okay, that's the first time I heard that one.
And they had that existing station. They put that one on tree line.
Okay. All right, well,
Can I
Yes.
ask a question about the crosswalks? Down the road, is there any way of who we go through to get this done? The solar flashing lights, I've seen them on stop signs and Lehigh's in different areas, on our crosswalks, on our yellow signs. Can we get that? Is that something that Stoneybrook?
we'd have to get approval from the Gateway supervisors, but yeah, I don't think they would say no, but the cost would probably be on us. Now, if you want to fund it through the 004 account, yeah, but then we gotta come up with the money. And if you notice, the increases, everybody's worrying about their dues, they're not even looking at their taxes are going way more than their dues are.
I'd like to get some estimates, though, to just see like
Yeah.
what it's an option, and then we know, oh, this is what it would cost, oh, we can't afford that, or hey, let's budget this for, down.
Is
the
that
road.
something that the district office would do for us, to just look into that, or should we do it through the HOA office?
Well, I'd pull the bids out for the flashing pedestrian signs for Commerce Lakes and Gateway. That'll be the latest ones.
Let us take a look at that next meeting then,
Yeah.
if you don't mind.
I'll pull it out. And also budget wise, so you have a $10,150 expenditure for these sidewalk repairs. in
It's
your
actually removing trees to do the sidewalk.
Okay. So where do you want to pull that from?
We
Repair?
have the two big things on the balance sheet there, and one of them is for, I think, capital, whatever expenditures or something.
Well, we've got repair and maintenance, other landscaping, repair and maintenance
There's
irrigation.
$184,000 that's over on the bottom of the balance sheet under 004. And or 94,000. Capital project reserves, we have there,
Okay,
page 2 of the balance sheet, which would be like 3 pages, the third page in the big cluster. And on page 3, you'll see at the bottom, on the column for Stoneybrook funds, is 84,931 unassigned. That tends to come from overages, money that we didn't spend. It's been a few years. The capital project reserves, which is several items up, has 109,594. And that tends to come from, it's left over that we spend, we put that 10,000 in every year. That we always have in the budget, and that accumulates in there, then we spend some money for capital expenditure that comes out of there, that's why it's not a number.
so which one is it?
Which one would you recommend, Chris? Of those two line items?
Well, probably the unassigned if you wanted to pull it from there.
All right, I'm fine with that. I'm just looking, I don't want to step on anybody's toes here.
That's not capital expenditure, though.
Well, it's, capital project reserves is what it is. It's for capital projects. Something that we have to, we're doing to the road, we're repairing the sidewalk. Now, if we want to if you don't want to call that a capital item, we can use it on the side and take it out of there. Okay, that's what I'm saying, take it out of the unassigned.
Yeah.
I agree, that's why I'm fine with that, I just didn't want someone to question whether we think that the other way. But something like doing the road, the sidewalk repair, or even the road treatment, I don't have a problem taking that out of the capital. Does anybody else?
Take the money where it's there.
Well, Tom has a valid point about expense versus capital.
Capital is something you can appreciate.
Right.
Right.
Well, sidewalk repair, I mean, like that is.
Unless you're replacing the whole sidewalk with.
Yeah, we did the last time. Yeah. Well, there's more money than enough to do what we need to do there on the other side. That doesn't really upset.
I think an elevator, I mean, I'm just saying, I'm just thinking counting. We can always move it.
You're right. You're right. So I think that's, if your question is the mechanics of where to come from and how to do it. Chris, you with us?
Yep.
You're agreed?
Yep, yeah, I just wanted to have a number to put on the purchase order. And I did have one bill that I found, and this was the most recent one, received October 12th.
Last year?
No, this year, 2020. And that was for Tony's legal fees.
Oh, you're changed subject.
Yeah, with a Securitas mostly. And that was $1,320.
That's in addition to what I say. That's our boys on the board. I'll tell you.
And Tony bills by quarter hour, and his statements are itemized, who he talked to and what, so it's not hard to track.
Yeah, no, I'm fine with that.
Oh, yes.
I don't think that this board understands that they shouldn't be calling down here to talk to Tony and us. Not at least let's know what's going on.
No,
Well, the board would get a copy of this now.
No, you don't.
yeah, they're still trying to find their own attorney right now. That's the problem. And some of
So
the
they don't even
questions,
know what they said.
Listen, Chad just knows he gets on the phone and then Terry and, hangs up and so on. My dad will take care of it.
the one aggravating thing is, in my opinion, is that they're asking for decisions on things in the documents where that's covered under a section in there that says the board makes the final decision. So unless it's really, really far out legal wise, I don't see why they go to an attorney. They need to look at it and make a decision. And we did that how many times on different things?
Not to mention, that's one of the functions of the management company. And the management company as a referral. They're not lawyers, but they can help you from there.
But the board makes the final decision, and that's what stands.
Well, the board covers itself by getting a legal reference, because this way it does tend to isolate, that's all. And they've gone to professional, consultation.
Okay.
So did we finish number 5?
Yeah, I think
Yes.
so. All right, number 6, committee request audience comments. I think the audience has covered it for them. Yeah.
I don't know where I saw, read, heard, or what, but Pelican wants the okay to have access exit onto the boulevard.
They're doing, the board approved a letter of intent to do an exploratory, and they're looking at that right now. Pelican was talking about having that access be open and with knockdown gates for EMS
Oh, you're talking
vehicles.
about emergency access.
Right.
Yeah, I thought that was already approved. I didn't think that was.
No, what they're doing is the costs, and I have a meeting with the fire people tomorrow, because if a vehicle goes in there, they want a stabilized surface, not a ground up Lime Rock Road like it's back there. So we're just doing fact finding.
And this is a Pelican expense. I guess their 002 budget would pay for that?
Yep.
Okay. I don't have an issue with it, because they talked about having an emergency access there. I just don't, wouldn't be happy if it became for vendors and everybody else who wanted to use it. Because I tell you right now, vendors going in and out, and even residents do.
Yeah, oh, yeah, well,
Well,
Which is one of the excuses that why they don't.
yeah, the way it takes forever to go from the back part over.
It is good, it's bad design.
But I don't know how much money they would cost them if they made that a general exit, an entrance in the Pelican. I know they'd have to pay more money assessment
I
wise.
don't think it's gonna be a general, you're talking about.
Well, no, I'm just wondering how much it would cost them to, if they decided just to make that back entrance a permanent entrance back and forth the residents could use, but they'd have to pay because then they'd have access to more stuff.
Well, it would be emergency access only, and it's like an event of the hurricane, like when Irma came through. Pelican Preserve Boulevard was flooded across it, so the people on the backside, Prado, Pistoia, and that had no way to get in and out.
Well, where's off the.
I couldn't get out either. I was going to down get your canoe.
So I'm not sure that it's what you might have thought it was. It's not gonna be a general way to get in and out.
no, I know not a general, but you know,
It will be fenced off. There'll be an emergency knockdown fence, is the way it was described to me way back when. Has that changed?
You know, they'd have a transponder that would open the fence for a EMS vehicle. They're just looking into all the options now, what it would cost to pave it, what it would cost for the gate, what the fire service has to say. There's development of regional impact requirements for when that road closes to sod it and, you know, make it basically impassable, so to speak, and to gate it off in the back of Pelican.
I
So
will tell you that it's amazing to me that the county ever approved the community that large to have one ingress and egress.
well, look at
Community
us.
that large.
yeah.
Oh, no, they, you can drive for 4 miles in that community.
I know that.
Front gate.
Yeah.
Regardless, we have one only.
We have one only, but we're not as big, nowhere. They're 3 times our size. And they have more open lanes. They've got a golf course. It's a huge piece of property to have only one entrance. But it is what it is. They approved it and they let them do it. And I never thought it was a good idea. I thought they'd have another entrance somewhere. But I will tell you, I think that some of those people think it's gonna be another way, like a service entrance. Because that's what Gary used to refer to it as. That's our service entrance for vendors and others and construction people to enter. And I was never happy about that. In any case, does that answer your question?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a general in and out. If it does, I'm sure there'll be some discussion. But other supervisors. Anything? Angela, you good?
Yes, no, I mean, I have a question.
Okay.
I didn't realize, I was just looking at the email that I sent to Gateway Services today at around noonish, and did not realize that I didn't send the pictures. On Ivory Stone, there's a sinkhole beginning.
That's probably what you were talking about.
They're out there this afternoon.
Yeah,
looking
and I
at it.
just realized that the pictures didn't go through earlier, so I'm sending them now. So I was just gonna ask, I know it's short notice, because I just sent it out today, but if you could keep us posted on what's going on with that, because I'm gonna talk to the neighbor that lives right there.
Right.
She didn't even notice it. She goes, yeah, I hit something over there. Oh, she goes, that's native, that's fresh. It's a sinkhole, and I noticed that the middle of the road, there's cracks, something's going on.
Yeah, something like that happened on Pebblestone years ago. And what happened is one of the drains that went under the road apparently was leaking and was washing out under the road. And over a period of time, the road started going down and they had to come up, dig it, repair.
Yeah, they were investigating that this afternoon. I know.
It could be something like that.
I didn't send the picture, sorry.
Is that it?
Yeah, I just wanted to know.
Anything else, Warren?
I'd look at this question, since I sent the customer service request or whatever, will they contact me or will they contact Shannon in the office to give us an update on whatever they find out?
They would contact whoever submitted the request.
Okay.
And they send you the bill.
But it looks like it could get bad really fast.
This is a picture I took today of the drain that goes from the path down to the road.
Right.
Is that something that we should have the HOA work on, or is that something that Gateway needs to fix?
Yeah,
What are we talking about?
I remember when we went out there and looked at it, they were talking about putting fake grass in there. Yeah, something just that, so it would drain down, but
Is this,
slow.
so they dug up the thing there?
No, they didn't dig it up, it's all just broken up.
Oh, 'cause I thought they were gonna come out and do a concrete for like their own little flume there at one time.
Yeah, I think they looked at that and I heard they were looking at fake grass putting in there.
Is that something your
Oh,
folks
yeah,
should do,
when
or?
it really rains. I don't know that stuff doesn't get washed out.
Yeah.
But, I don't know about fake grass, I don't know.
Well, I don't,
Yeah.
I don't know, I'd have to ask Tony, you
See,
know.
that's just, because what it was is that I know that to put a flume in is more expensive, and they said that we can do it ourselves. And you got a cement mixer, I thought, a portable cement mixer. things
Yep.
and jobs like that.
the other was I think, that's going with my camera, I guess. The picture of the sidewalk there by the, that they just fixed.
Right.
By the lift station.
Right.
And they didn't, it's about a 12-foot section. And they didn't put any cuts or anything in it. I wondered if they were going to go out and install that, cuts. It's,
Really a pretty poor, they did a very poor job there.
well, it looked pretty good until it rained.
It's not finished off like the rest of the sidewalk. It's much longer, it's not divided up into smaller panels.
They had it brushed off pretty decently, but then it rained and it screwed it up, but then there was no expansion. So this is where it met the other sidewalk and you can't see the other one. But down here, and it's about 12 feet or whatever. So I don't know if that's something
They may put an expansion joint or maybe
No.
not, I don't know.
it looks like the rest of the sidewalk, all the,
Every so often you got a square.
they use the saw to cut it because it's just very thin line. It wasn't like you would find
I mean,
the old timers.
I had to spread a couple of sidewalks back in the day.
Yeah.
You would use a tool to actually draw.
Yeah, yeah.
Etching of line into
Yeah,
the wet.
now they're pretty much using a saw. That got to be a lot easier, less time consuming, so. And that's it for me.
Anything, Virginia? Then I'm gonna say, I'll take a motion to adjourn. All right, Virginia gives me a motion to adjourn, so a second from Angela, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Chris.
4:06.